Before it was very like someone would call, it would be like, oh, do you take my insurance? Yes, they would schedule. No, that's it. Now it's like a lot more relationship based, asking their name on the phone. It's just a completely different type of person that we initially had versus who we have now. It's such an insurance driven question, whether they come to you or they don't come to you. I didn't want it to be about that. Like I wanted them to come to us because we like built a positive experience and we wanted other families to come as well, similar to those type of families.
Joining me this week is Dr. Fatina Shtivelman. Fatina, how's it going?
Good. How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. And we really appreciate you. So I wanted to ask you right off the gate, what's been taking up most of your mental space lately?
Well, I feel like the office is kind of like another baby. So I have one child. This is my second child. So I'm always thinking about, staff, what we're doing, what we can be doing, what we could be doing better. A part of me is always thinking about the office because, like I said, it's definitely a second baby.
Yeah,
My second
interesting.
child.
Yeah. And so when did you open?
So we opened the office 2018. My son at the time was a year old, so we're about 8 years into it. But I have to say, every year has been kind of a new journey, if that's the right word. I think
Mhm.
every year there's like different things or goals that we're working on and trying to accomplish. I mean, when I look back from when we started and kind of where we are to where we are now, I'm always very humbled
Mhm.
how much we have grown because it was a startup in Manhattan during COVID. So we've had a lot of, I'm sure, like everyone else, especially during that time, ups and downs, especially with staff, restructuring, kind of really honing in on our vision and where
Mhm.
we want the practice to go, our philosophy. I always say this is kind of one of the hardest things I've ever done, to be quite honest. Not like in a bad way, because I think it just demands a different part of you
Mhm.
every time you set a new goal to like grow into that goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. So could I ask, what's the goal this year?
So this year we're really kind of honing on creating the boutique fee for service extraordinary experience for our patients. We were in network with a lot of insurance and we actually are not anymore, which is really what I wanted because I felt like obviously being in network I just couldn't provide that experience. And there's always like a volume aspect, and some people like that, but that's just not what I wanted my practice to be. I always envision like boutique, small, relationship based. That's really what I wanted to create and really what I've tried to create. And I think this year, now that we have really honed in and going at a network and like with our verbiage, getting the right people, the staff, we're able to kind of really provide that wow experience. I think we're trying.
Mhm. Nice. Okay, so you're located in Manhattan.
Yes, we're by Union Square in Gramercy. We're on 15th and 3rd. So I think we're in a very diverse area. Manhattan, I think you have very wealthy, not so wealthy, middle class. You have kind of everything. It's a melting pot.
Interesting. How saturated would you say it is over there for like dentistry, for like practices? If I'm thinking I want to open up one near you.
So Manhattan is saturated. But that being said, I think if you want to create your own space and your own home and have your own vision, and I think you put your heart into it, I think there's always room to do so. But it's a lot of work. I'm not going to say it's not. I mean, you definitely have to build a lot of relationships. We actually did a lot of ground marketing in the beginning. Every single ground marketing event we could do, we did. Just trying to get the reviews. I mean, it's not like you're going to open and people are going to come because there are options. And especially if you choose not to take a lot of insurance, you definitely have to differentiate yourself, whether that's doing later hours, providing a service, giving that wow factor experience, you're going to have to work hard.
Yeah,
There's no
interesting.
other way to do
So
it.
you opened 2018, you opened up immediately with a minimum amount of insurance, or was it like, hey, let's take as many as we can right now and then
It was let's just take what we can right now
Mhm.
just to get people in the door. Again, I didn't, like most people, really understand a lot about the business or insurance. To me, that's just what you do. You take insurance because people have insurance and they want to use insurance. I didn't really quite understand that there are insurances that you would want to take, and there are insurances that like are really not worth your time to take because the fees are just so low. And if you want a high quality business and that's not like your model, it's not going to work. There's like a conflict with your philosophy. But that took a long time to figure out. So in the beginning, I did everything myself. Like I would take my own x-rays. I
Mhm.
would, like everything. So I think we've come quite a long way with just getting the right people, staff on board, training. It's a journey. It's a
Yeah.
marathon, not a sprint.
So with the insurance, what was the last type of insurance, or which one was the last one that you dropped off? And was it more so because like more of your patients, or was it because the fees were just really good?
So I didn't mind taking insurance as long as it was comparable to like my UCR fees
Hmm.
or like our fees that we felt were reasonable for our area. So what we did, we kind of like analyzed, did reports, and we looked how many patients we had in each insurance. In my particular area, we do have like a lot of UN families, and they happen to have like a lot of Cigna. So that's something that, I wouldn't drop just because I understand there's just a lot of families that use it and have it. And luckily, it is very comparable to like our UCR fees. So I think that was kind of like the first step, just understanding like the demographic, what insurance, which one, going over like the fee schedules, making sure it's something we want to work with. Does it make sense to drop? Because if you have a lot of patients, let's say, with United Healthcare, whatever, you can't just drop it. It has to make sense. There needs to be a strategy behind what you do,
Yeah.
basically.
So did you have like a someone who coached you throughout that process, or no, you just kind of did the research and did it?
So I had someone that I worked with actually at like my old pedo offices. She was very helpful when I was like an associate. She kind of helped us set everything up in our open dental, like all the fee schedules, the reports, because I didn't understand any of that. And she kind of was, I would say, a guide to help us with that part of it as well. So she kind of showed me how to do the reports and what made sense. And you really need someone that understands. I know some people, they hire different companies. It just kind of depends. I think I got lucky that I just happened to have someone that we had a good relationship and she was willing to help and kind of oversee and help manage that aspect of it.
Interesting. Okay. So I have a lot of questions, but let's rewind back. It's 2018. Doesn't have to be in 2018, but rewind to like a heavier season. Take us back to a season where ownership felt heavier than it should have. What was going on throughout that time?
And I think when you have a startup and your schedule is not full, there's a mental load to that people don't always talk about. And that goes back to kind of what we were talking about. Like, let's say if you're busy, but you are taking insurance, but you're still busy. It's not like you're
Hmm.
sitting around, you got to fill your chairs. So I think that's hard, especially as a startup, because you don't see that many patients if you're starting from scratch. And it's kind of like being in the headspace of this is normal, using your time to not worry and actually like execute and do things. I think that was really hard in the beginning. And it's still hard. Like if we have a day that like falls apart, and it's hard not to just go into like, oh my God, my schedule's not filled. But
Hmm.
I think over time and just longevity wise, I think you kind of look back and be like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like that when you're going through it.
Interesting. So now what like parameters or things do you put to make sure you minimize that? especially the feeling of the mental load feeling, but at the same time to minimize, like, let's not make sure the schedule's falling apart as much.
I mean, I think now we have more checks and balances. If, let's say, the schedule, I mean, February happened to be more cancellations just with the weather that we've had, but we've been much better with utilizing that time with let's just do a social media video or, let's think of a contest or let's do decor just to try to keep ourselves busy and not like focus on the schedule is not busy and actually focus on, okay, it's not busy, but I could do other things right now to help it be busy. So I think we've kind of gotten much better as a team doing that. And even as me as an owner, just delegating more with what we need in the practice. Because before I would just kind of not say anything, even though I would think it, like, oh my God, we need to do something. I've become much more comfortable with like, okay, let's go ahead and go make a video right now and just kind of asking for what needs to be done and not just like sitting in my own head.
Interesting. So, do you ever feel like you have to filter that sometimes? Like, I'm going to filter what I want to say when I'm stressed out, especially when I have a lot in my head, because if I say what I'm going to say, it kind of makes it the rest of the team maybe stressed out or they're feeling like, oh, we just got to do anything, whatever. It doesn't matter if it's productive or not. Or how do you feel?
I've definitely the way I talk to people and approach situations are much different at this point in time than I did in the beginning. I would say in the beginning, when I was stressed, I think a lot of people would know I was stressed because your body language, right? You're more snappy and you're just not like someone that's like calm, cool, and easygoing. I think through kind of like incorporating certain things, like at this point in time, I do a lot of like meditation and yoga, which some people don't believe in it, but I truly believe it has helped me in these times to just kind of get me to be more zen and just calmer as a leader. Because you can't show people that you're stressed. You have to bring your A game because they work, right, a lot of times for you. So you need to kind of be the image, the face. And if something's not as should be, like you need to be able to talk about it and motivate people to stay motivated. So it just helps when you're in a good headspace. I think it makes a lot of things much easier from just work to patient care to family. Like you have to be positive, which is not always like natural, I would say. But there's always something good, I think, that you could focus on and concentrate to help kind of through those hurdles. So I've been much better with focusing more on the good things than the not so good things, I think.
Nice. Yeah. Did that start transitioning once, like maybe you broke even or you started seeing, like, okay, we're able to, you know what I mean? We've had this before happen and nothing, the world didn't end. When did that start happening when you were, or was it when you started immediately taking a meditation and yoga?
I mean, I think the first 5 years are hard. I'm not going to say they're not. I think because you're just figuring things, your systems, your like scheduling, your block scheduling, you're kind of tweaking things. I think after that fifth year, there's certain things that are already like basics, and those basics are done. They're like newer goals, but like the basics are figured out. Like we have a lot more consistency with our staff. Like in the beginning, we didn't, right? So like we would always have to retrain, which is hard because you invest a lot into people. I think we have a lot of checklists now, and I live by checklists. Like there's a dental assistant checklist, there's a front checklist, there's the end of day checklist. So I think that kind of helps keep everything structured. And like at the end of the day, when I see them, I think it gives me ease of like almost peace of mind because I know that things are okay. Like we're doing fine. We're well. Like it's all good.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So you mentioned the first 5 years were really hard. What specifically was the hardest that no one really talks about or no one really told you about that you wish someone would have told you?
I think it's not even the dentistry, it's like the business slash finding your team
Mhm.
to help with your vision. I think in the beginning, when you hire, right, you're a lot more flexible because you're like, I really need someone. Like, okay, they might not be the nicest or they might not be on time, but I need someone. So I'm going to just settle and like, it's fine. I think going through this process, I'm very like strict now with like certain non-negotiables. Like if someone can't show up on time, like even for an interview, I mean, I'm like not giving them a working interview. I've almost become, I guess I've set like certain boundaries that like I'm not gonna say it's okay because I know it won't be okay. I guess it's more long term now than short term like needs. And I think kind of even when we hire, we have like a certain questionnaire now that we ask. I call like all the references. I'm much more systematic in how I choose someone because I know that I want this person to stay with us and grow with us. So I try to do a lot of like research on the front end before even like a working interview, before I have them like commit and want them on our team. So it's not like me just being like, oh, I need someone. They showed up, I'm going to hire them. There's like a whole process that we do now. It's first, if they could show up on time. Second, there's like a questionnaire. We do references. We actually ask the team as well for like input. And then we do like a working interview. So it's worked out pretty well. I mean, most of our team now have been with us, I would say, over 3 years, if not longer. So I think if you put in that work in the front and kind of set those boundaries from the beginning, I think it helps a lot with like less disappointment later
Oh,
on.
yeah, definitely. Oh man. So then let's like hone in on that a little bit if I can. You said the team had a hard time with the vision initially. So what's the vision?
So we want like the fee for service boutique wow factor with the latest technology, making it fun, easygoing for the kids. Like we want to make it as seamless, the whole process from like when the parents call to schedule to when the child comes to like the actual visit. We want them to like love our office. Like we understand they have a lot of options. We want them to come here and be happy and like, wow, this was so easy. Like we want other families to come here too. So reviews have also been like a huge part of what we do. I mean, we have over like 630 reviews, which I have gotten much more bold with asking because I feel like if you don't ask, people won't do it. And that's another thing. I think 7 years ago, I was probably not as bold as I am now with directly asking even for a review because it was very uncomfortable for me. Now it's just like something I do. Like it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
it's part of what we do. So I think those kind of things and even like making sure the team knows what they're doing. Like we always do our huddle. We always kind of have someone appointed to directing traffic, taking x-rays. It's just a lot more structured at this point. It flows. We have a flow, whereas in the past we did not have a flow.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So then once you started asking for reviews, like you specifically, that you saw it skyrocket?
I think so. I find that when I ask, not always, but like if I ask, most of the time they will do it. When the team asks, sometimes they will. It's just the conversion seems to be much better when I go ahead and ask versus, let's say, the staff. I don't know why. It just seems to be the way it is.
What specifically do you say?
If they say that, oh my God, this was so easy. So I'm like, thank you so much. We would really appreciate if you could just write a review for us so that way other families could have an easy experience like you did. And that's it. I don't ask unless we get that feedback. That's kind of like my in. Like when the parents were, they come in, especially for a first dental visit, right? With the little one, they don't know how it's going to go. And like typically as humans, we always think worst case scenario, right? So if they were like, oh my God, this was amazing. This was so much easier than I thought. To me, that's like an easy ask, right? Because we basically helped solve something for them. So I'm like, if they could write a review, it's like helping us too.
Yeah, I like that. So then what was the issue that the initial team had with that vision? Besides being late, if they were or not, what did you find like, guys, it ain't gonna work out?
Well, I think because we were very insurance minded at that point in time, it's very different. Like we're much more customer service now versus when we started. Like before, it was very like someone would call, it would be like, oh, do you take my insurance? Yes, they would schedule. No, that's it. Now it's like a lot more relationship based, like that hospitality, if that's the right word, like more asking their name on the phone. Like it's just a completely different type of person that we initially had versus who we have now. But we've also kind of invested, I guess, with training. Like we've done a lot more training with the front desk. So that was not a natural thing either. Because I think dentistry, a lot of times, because people have insurance, and unfortunately, it's changed so much that it's such an insurance driven question whether they come to you or they don't come to you. I didn't want it to be about that. Like I wanted them to come to us because we like built a positive experience and we wanted other families to come as well, similar to those type of families.
Okay, got you. So then, would you say your whole team is brand new from the initial outset, or there's one or two that stayed?
No, I would say from the initial, it's completely brand new. We had who our office manager is now. She started as a dental assistant. We invested because she wanted to learn. And that's the thing. If you have someone that wants to learn, even if they don't have the experience, but they have the attitude and the drive, I think for me, those are like the most important now. Maybe before it was a lot more, do they know dental? Oh, then I don't have to train them. Now it's like, okay, I'll train them. Do they have like the attitude and like, do they want to learn? Those are kind of my number one. But she started as a dental assistant. And basically, at that time, we had someone else in our front, but it just wasn't working where I wanted the practice to go and how things were going. So she ended up leaving, and Eva, which we're very fortunate to have her, kind of stepped into that role. And one of the who I was working with, who helped set up our office, who I told you about before, she actually trained Eva everything about the front desk. Eva knew nothing from the insurance stuff, like A to Z, how to send the claims, how to do the AR, like everything. So she kind of took on that main, I would say, role. Then she wanted to go to hygiene school. We were very flexible with her because I see how valuable and how great she has been for our office. So we kind of were flexible with her schedule. And when she finished hygiene school, she became our office manager. So it's kind of nice because she knows the back, she knows the front, and she's a hygienist. I feel like it works really well. Even my hygienist now is on maternity. It gives me like leeway because she could also step into that role if I need her because she could kind of do a lot in the office, which also gives me more flexibility.
Nice.
Too.
So like it's good hybrid team members kind of a thing. So then now whenever there's a new person that kind of comes in, is that like one of the main things you look for? Because I know you said you have like a questionnaire, you have a pretty extensive interview process. Break down to us the interview process if you can.
So, I mean, usually we'll set up an interview. I have like a timesheet they have to write like when their interview was scheduled and when they got there because I'm crazy about time. That's like my number one thing. They'll fill out the questionnaire. I go over the questionnaire. I usually ask them like 5 questions, kind of what are your long-term, like your 5-year plan, your 2-year plan, where do you see yourself in the future? And I have like a couple others that I ask depending on what I feel is appropriate at that time. After that, we talk about it at the end of the day with the team just to see who we think would be a good fit for our team. And then I offer a working interview. They get paid to do it, but it's kind of for them to see how the office is and for us to see how they are, if they're a good fit. Before that interview, I also call like all their references. Usually I'll call 1 or 2. I want at least 2. Just because, you don't know if they're always telling the truth with the first one. So I like to kind of at least have 2. And I would say that's kind of like the basics of it. If the working interview goes well, We usually do like a 3-month probation. And I tell them that 3 months is really for them to kind of learn and just see how things are going and if it's like a good fit for them.
Interesting. Okay. So then, just so, because I'm curious, why the time thing at the beginning?
So, one of our core values is being on time.
Mhm.
I'm crazy about being on time. I like, that's kind of something that's very important. And especially in Manhattan, time is valuable. I mean, people, especially kids, they're busy. The kids have camp and the classes, the parents are busy. Time is like a huge thing. So, I feel like if you can't show up on time, you're probably not going to help with the flow of the office.
So that's like a hard set boundary. Like from the
Hard set
beginning, you
from the
you.
beginning. I'm very rigid with that. It's also part of the experience, right? Like,
Mhm.
I don't want people like sitting and waiting. And we're so dependent on our staff, right? They're kind of like an extension of me. So I always tell them they have to almost be ahead of me the way they think. Because if they're not, right, like we're not going to be able to have that flow. Things are just not going to run on time. Then I'm going to be more stressed. Then I can't like give our families a good experience. So I think there's like a lot that goes into that. But all my team members know that I'm crazy about being on time.
Mhm.
Like crazy
Gotcha.
about it.
All right, that's good. So then, how many team members do you have in total right now?
So right now we have two. So we have Eva, who's our office manager, and then we have our receptionist who works alongside her. We have two assistants in the back. And I also have, I guess she's like, she wants to go to dental school. So she just finished college. She's like applying. Usually I'll have one intern, if that's the right word,
Hmm.
that they're interested in dentistry. They're very motivated, I would say, and they really want to learn, and that's important for me. So we have three in the back that help us, and that intern also helps me with like the ground marketing stuff, like scheduling and doing the outreach, like the pediatrician drop offs, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Okay, and then you mentioned you have checklists for a lot of things.
Yes.
Can I ask what does your checklist consist of?
I don't know if I have one particular for me. So I have a binder that they put basically in the morning, like the dental assistants, they have to sign off. And I kind of like look in the binder to make sure everything is done. You're right, I probably should have one more for me, but I guess it's just more kind of overseeing that everything else is done, that like they sign off the morning, the end of the day, that like if they're lab cases, those are kind of pulled out, and that everything's signed off. Inventory is like stocked up, those type of checklists. So I'm just overseeing them.
Yeah, that's good. That's a systematic approach. That way, like, no mental energies. Like, did I do that? Did I?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that came when? From the very beginning, or?
No, 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 no. This has been a long time in the making. I would say we really, like, really have down onto the checklist probably this year, to be honest. I mean, because remember, when you have turnover, a lot of things go to the wayside. I think when you have your solid people, and now we've had some people that are with us, for more than 3 years, so we could fine tune things. So I think this year or 2025 has really been making sure these checklists are up to date, making sure we're using them. They know where they go, that the girls are signing off on them. But yeah, that took a long time. That did not just happen like right away. But I will say, had I done it earlier, I think things would have been way easier. Because then you're just like asking, right? And that's energy. Like, did you do this? Did you do
Yeah,
that? Like, who wants to do that, right?
yeah.
But when it's kind of all there and they sign off on it, I think it's much easier to hold someone accountable.
You're right. That's like a way of overseeing without micromanaging. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, who wants, and no one wants to be micromanaged. Like, no one wants that. And, like, I don't want to nag them. So they know at this point, like, the team members we have, it's just part of what they do. And it's been working. I mean, there has been in the past, right? Like we needed, let's say, stainless steel crowns and they were not there because they weren't ordered. And they would all look at each other like she was supposed to, or she, and that just like creates bad vibes for everyone because then like they get, upset because I get upset. So it's just not good. Whereas now it's like they have to go through the inventory, they sign off on everything. It just makes things much more flowing.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. So then if somebody were listening right now and they're like, man, I want the checklist. Like,
Yeah.
right? Did you find this or was it created along the way? Like you said, like, hey, oh, we normally forget that. We got to go back and edit the checklist, go back and edit the checklist.
I made like a basic one. I mean, with ChatGPT, life is like amazing, right? You could get
Hmm.
like anything with ChatGPT, but like you still need to tweak and cater it to your office, right? So, like for us in the morning, there's certain things that I want done. Like when you come in, you have to make sure that like the computers are on, right? The TVs are on, like all the trays are set up, the toys are ready to go. Like whatever we can do to be proactive to make our day flow. I think that's kind of our goal with those checklists. Because at the end of the day, when we're like seeing patients, I want it to be about patients, not like scrambling to get
Hmm.
this, a toy, or scrambling to get that, because that just takes away, right, from like the whole experience. And we want to create a wow experience. So it kind of like goes with our value system.
Yeah, no, definitely. So that's interesting. So you wouldn't say like, hey guys, I have a checklist. I can just give it because everybody has to customize it, or would you say like, yeah, there is a specific shell of a checklist that everybody can have?
No, so it's specific to their job titles. So over break, we've really tried to come up with like the job descriptions and expectations. And I think that also created a lot more clarity, right? So, for instance, with dental assisting, one of our expectations is that everything is ordered, inventory, right? And
Mhm.
that's part of the job description. So every time there's, let's say, something that's not ordered, it's very simple to say, look, you signed off on this. This is part of your job description. It's kind of like one of those things that like you can't argue with facts, right?
Mhm.
So before a lot of times people were just like, oh, she should have done it. And I hate that because
Yeah.
that like drives me. I would say that's a pet peeve
Yeah.
of mine. So I think the checklists just have helped per job description alleviate all that chaos.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Blaming is one of the things that creates disunity. So if you
Yeah,
start blaming people, I mean, like, imagine your other team member is going to be like, did she just blame me? Kind of a thing. And
yeah,
now that's in their
exactly.
head. Yeah.
And
So,
there was also, I would say, like then between the assistants, right? Like my goal was collaboration. I didn't want like no collabs. I wanted them to communicate and collab together. So I tried to explain it to them. And it's funny, I don't really watch football, but I really was into like the Indiana thing this year that they won. But the coach, one of the things that like is a big thing for him, and I try to like communicate that to my staff, like we are a team, so we all need to like work together. And his whole thing was like together everyone achieves more. That's what like
mhm.
team stands for. And I really tried to like hone in on that. And I'm like, we are a team. Like we have to work together. We are here to, yes, we provide a service, but we need to work together so we can meet our goals and continue to grow and get to the next level. And I'm big in like I want to reward, I guess, more efforts than outcome, if that makes sense. And that's something that's been also a mindset shift for me, even like with my son. But as long as they try, even if it doesn't work out, but let's say they did the event or found the event, I'm like, I want to do something, whether it's give a gift card or acknowledge that effort, than like anything else. I guess that's the most important for me is like them trying. Even
Yeah.
if we fail, I want them to like try different things, give feedback, like be invested, if that's the right word.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. Interesting. So then with that, you mentioned events. Do you still do a lot of ground marketing or?
So we do. I don't as much anymore, but I'm very comfortable with my team doing them because I know at this point that they know the type of person I am and like what I would want from the events. And I've done some with them. So we still do if I'm able to, right? Because my son's also 8. So like on the
Mhm.
weekends, I can't always go anymore. We also we're not in the city and we used to like live right by the office. We actually moved to Jersey. We're not that far, but still we're not like specific to New York. So on the weekends, I'm kind of more, I guess, mommying than
Mhm.
doing the ground marketing. But if I can, my son will come and he likes to do all the events with us too. But the team kind of does a lot more at this point. We've almost like made it a system. Like they know when they go to an event, there's a checklist to what they take to the events. There's like a whole protocol for what
Okay.
needs to be done.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's incredible. So then how do you, because this is a question that comes up a lot, how do you kind of pay your team when it comes to events off hours?
I pay them as if they're working. So, in my opinion, it's still work. It's just part of their hours. We've gotten much better with, again, being proactive with the schedule and like anticipating. In the beginning, I think because we didn't have an office manager, I was not so good with like managing hours. And like a lot of people were going overtime. And like I was stressed about all that. But Eva has been very good with delegating that schedule part and me and her always communicating. So we kind of know, I guess, who's able to do it, who's not able to do it. Also, when we're in clinic, we've gotten very efficient with our clinic time. So it's not like they're just sitting around and getting paid. They understand, I think, at this point, right? Like, if you want to work, you're expected to work. I'm giving you the hours, but like you have to do what we need you to do for the business.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. That makes a lot of sense. You also mentioned that you invest in your team specific trainings, front and back. What has been something where you're like, man, that training, wow, thank goodness they did that because it's really pivoted or it's really skyrocketed something or something that you're just super satisfied with?
I think honestly, all the coaching I've used, I think that I've taken different things from it. You know, some people are like, I don't want to spend the money, it's so expensive. I look at it as if you don't spend the money, then like you're not going to learn, right? And like I also want to grow and I want to learn. I think in the beginning we did like front desk rocks, we did like a lot of stuff with them. And like all those virtual and we had turnover. I still think it helped kind of with our initial scripts, at least kind of giving us some blueprint to our future team members. So I think I've also worked with like Anessa. I think she was actually one of the first coaches that I used. Like this was during COVID. She was probably one of the first people. I felt like everyone I have used, I have taken something from it to like better my business. I think I
Hmm.
really have not had, I can't think of a time where I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't do this. It was a waste of money. It's like anything, what you put in is what you get out of it. And I think the ROI has been great for at least getting us to the point where we are now more that like boutique fee for service, less insurance, much more like experienced pediatric dentistry office.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. And then right now, you mentioned you're depending on the goals with your team, right? You're transparent with that. How transparent are you with your team as far as when it comes to goals? Like, what's the goal this year for the practice, for the team? But do you also let them know, like, guys, this is our break even or no?
So I don't like specifically say our break even. Like we have a goal that we do as a team, like our new patient, that's like one goal. Our hygiene reappointment as a team is like another goal. Our reviews as a team is like a third goal. So I would say those, although we do have DI or dental intelligence, which I think their huddle, like we always do a morning huddle. So they do see, I guess, the production that's like scheduled. I
Hmm.
don't like hide things from them, but like as specifically for numbers, I think that's really like Eva. She kind of knows our production goals and what we expect with schedule and what we're looking to do. But other than I would say like the things I mentioned, those are kind of the ones we do with the team. So I don't know if we specifically do a break even. I mean,
Hmm.
luckily our numbers have, thank God, we've been going up like every year, which I'm very happy. And it's been a lot of work, but like, thank God we haven't like been down. So that's why I could say everything we've invested in, I think, has helped us get to this point.
All right, interesting. So if we could dive a little bit into the business right now, new patients, how many are you getting a month?
So when we were in network, we were probably getting more. We were getting about like 40 to 50. I would say now, but remember we're out of network, we're probably getting around 35-ish. But it's still been more profitable than being
Hmm.
in network, right? Because your reimbursements are much higher. So for every like in network patient, you probably see one fee for service. You would need to see like 2 to 3 like in networks to compensate. So there's more gaps, but we're able to do a lot more same day treatment, which I think has also been very helpful for our practice. Because in Manhattan, again, people want everything now. It goes back to the time factor. So it's kind of like worked its way, like it worked out for us given where we are. And I think expectations and just people are busy. So if they could get their kids filling and we have the time, they're happy to do it that day.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good. I mean, yeah, that way the numbers aren't just bloated, right? They're like
Exactly.
specific good numbers kind of a thing. So I like that a lot. And then right now, reviews you mentioned, what's the goal for reviews that you guys
We
have?
we try to get at least 15 a month. That's like our goal. Yeah. So,
Nice.
and I think that's more than doable. To be honest, I probably should raise it, but you want it to be like you want them to also be able to reach it, right? So you don't
Hmm.
want to set things too high, but like you also want them to be able to get it as a team too, right?
Yeah. When they do get it, do they get like a specific bonus or anything like that? Or
So we do like a little, I guess, it's not like competition, but I would just say we have a whiteboard and we keep track of like who gets the review or who asks. So there's one for like specific reviews, there's one for like if you ask for a referral, and whoever gets the most like after the week, they get like a smoothie or a coffee. So just something like to make it more fun.
God, how many referrals are you getting then?
I mean, the whole referral thing, I would say, is like a newer thing that we've implemented because Manhattan, it's a lot of trial and error and being creative. I don't think one specific marketing thing works, to be honest. I
Hmm.
think it's just doing a little of everything and just keep putting yourself out there. It's weird. I don't think Manhattan's like any other place. I think reviews are very important, obviously, because that builds trust and people look at reviews. Like I look at reviews, so I understand how valuable they are. So I think that's like one aspect of it. I think the ground marketing is like another big thing. I think longevity, right, is like because after that 5 year mark, you're not like a newbie. Like people know you, you start getting more referrals, you know, more people in the community. So I think it kind of all comes together. But also, there's a lot of people that are always moving out of Manhattan too. So you constantly need like the new patient. So
Hmm.
it's kind of, I think, a little different than the suburbs. Because in the suburbs, right, when someone moves, they stay with you pretty much till they outgrow the practice. Whereas in the city, it's a lot more transient. So there's a constant need to do more marketing, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And then right now, production and collections. If you want, you can give me exact or a range, but like, what is that looking like monthly?
So I'm looking at the long term. I would say our numbers are all up. Some months are not as good, but overall we're up. As
Hmm.
far as like our AR and collection rate, because we have like an office manager and again, longevity, we kind of know a lot more with insurance and employers, and we kind of have a spreadsheet. We know how much to collect, so we've gotten much more accurate with that. I think our actual like collections, it's pretty high. I would say maybe 98, 99, but it wasn't always like that. That's been like a lot of tweaking and just knowing now after being there for 8 years which plans pay and co-pays and just before the patients come in, trying to like verify all the insurances so we know what to collect. So that in itself, it's a whole, I'm sure, podcast, but we try to like do a lot of verification before we have Modento. So we try if they're able to get like as much information ahead of time. So that way when they get to the office, we can do like if they need sealant same day and we know how much the patient's responsible. We also do like credit card on file. So that way, even if we're off, they have to like sign a form that says they have to, basically pay whatever the insurance won't pay.
Yeah. Do you offer a lot of third payment part like care credit or financing
I
options?
don't for pedo because I think it's sometimes what we will do, like for sedations, we do like our own kind of payment plan. We'll collect like 25% and then we'll let them do like a monthly. I know a lot of offices do, but because we're pedo, I just feel like it's not like we're doing full house implants, right? We're doing like a lot of bread and butter dentistry. So I didn't really think it's necessary. I know some people and some consultants swear by like care credit and third party. I just don't think it's necessary because we're not like this huge practice, right? Like we're a smaller boutique practice. And I feel like I'm comfortable with collecting a certain amount up front. I trust Eva. I know she's very good with collecting and money. So I'm comfortable with like doing our own payment plan.
Nice. Okay. So I know we talked about like coaches and specific training, and you felt all of it was beneficial. When it comes to software and systems like phones, practice management software, third party softwares, right? Things like that. What would you say were ones that were like, they just didn't fit with us? We didn't like it or it didn't work out well?
For Open Dental, I know they have their own like software, right? That like confirms patients and all that. Modento at the time was a lot more expensive, but I just felt that it was very user friendly. And in my mind, I wanted to try to make things as easy for the staff too. So that was something I think that has been more beneficial for us. And, some of the consultants were like, well, why would you pay for Modento? It's expensive. I think it's really made life easier, especially if, let's say, we had to train someone new with confirming, scheduling. They have like a newsletter. They sent out like the review links. I think that has almost helped us. And having like DI has helped us as well. Because now I think it's like a package deal, like Modento, DI. At the time when we initially signed up, it wasn't. It was kind of like a la carte. You would pick what you wanted. But I think all of them, again, have been good with like knowing our numbers, doing our huddle, confirming, because Modento sends out, you could set it. It could confirm the patients like a week in advance, then 3 days, then like 2 days. So I think it's taken some load. I'm not going to say everything because with pedo, we always get cancellations. It's just the way it is. The kids get sick. There are things that happen. But I think at least the people we schedule, it's been very good at like helping to keep those appointments. Then like the whole schedule just breaks down.
Yeah. Nice. That's really good to know. Okay. So then one of the last questions we wanted to ask you is if someone listening is one step behind where you were, what's the one move they should make this week?
And I would say don't be scared to spend money on your team, although it's scary, when you are in debt and you take a loan and you have to pay the staff. But I feel like, again, because we did do all that coaching, I think that has helped us kind of get where we are. I feel like if I didn't spend that money, like to figure things out yourself is really hard. And I feel like it would have probably taken even longer. A lot of dentists like to do everything themselves. I have learned to delegate, I think, a lot more stuff and oversee things. I think that also takes time, but I wish I would have had that mindset earlier on. I think it would have made a lot less stress to put more trust in your team members if you're able to. You got to get the right people first.
Gotcha. Interesting. And so our last guest left a question for you. This is from Dr. Pooja Makam from Lumina Dentistry. And she asked, if you could do it differently in your first 3 months, what would you do differently?
I wish I would have started at a network because that whole transition from going in network to out of network was extremely difficult. It's a completely different model. Also, when you go out of network, a lot of people were upset. So you have to deal
Mm-hmm.
with all of that. So I think the type of model you pick, you should stick with it. You know how they say to reverse engineer and start from the ends, right? I kind of
Mm-hmm.
wish I would have done that because I always knew I wanted to be like fee for service boutique. I wish I would have started with that insight and not just, taking every insurance because I was scared.
Okay. So it was more because of the fear. You're like, man, if people
Yeah,
think
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna,
am I going to have enough patients? Like, are people, right? If I don't take insurance, this is Manhattan, people are not going to come. But
yeah.
I think people do come because, especially with kids, like, if you're able to build that relationship and like give that experience, people do come, they do value that. And I think as dentists, sometimes we just got to get out of our own head because we're very like logical, analytical
Hmm.
type people. And it's scary, right? Because logically, right, you should take insurance. That means you have more butts in the chair. So that means that you're going to be busier. But that creates like so much, I think, mental stress for the owner as well, because you have so much more like AR and figuring out like co-pays and dealing with patients that are always like, how come this is not covered? There's just a whole different mental load, I think, that comes with that.
Interesting. Yeah, that's something that people don't really think. So then, did that lower your reviews by any chance?
I would just say I think we got higher quality patients that were happier to be here. So maybe volume wise, it lowered the reviews, but I think the reviews were more quality based,
Mm,
not quantity based.
gotcha.
We
Gotcha.
actually had people that like want to be there versus just coming to us because we took their insurance.
Yeah. Nobody ever like wrote on there like she's not taking my insurance anymore, kind of a thing.
No, I mean, I had some that I had to call. And, basically, as the owner, that was very uncomfortable for me because I do not like conflict. But I had to, because I don't, listen, we still have a few that are not like great, but I actually did call and ask them, like, what can I do to make it better and apologize so they would like take down the review because I didn't want to have bad reviews. Like, I feel like, it's not a good reflection. And I've learned that a lot of times when the owner calls versus when the manager calls, they're more in tune to do what the owner asks. Not always, but like if you come off sincere and you listen, I've had some bad ones taken down.
Wow.
So,
Fatina,
and a
I
lot
didn't know
of
that.
people won't. They
Yeah.
just won't. And they'll say, like, and I did too. I'm like, you call, but it's not the same. Like when the manager calls versus when the doctor calls. So
Yeah.
I would say if you have a bad review, just, come from a place from your heart, not about ego, just listen. And a lot of times it's not even the dentist. It just happened to be like they had a bad day or like, right, you just happen to be the one that like made them click, whether it's like a money thing or they were just upset and it just all came out, right? So
Hmm.
I would just say it's different if you come from a place that is just caring, like, what can we do better versus like, why did you write this? And like angry, because that's not going to solve anything.
Yeah. And do you
So.
also write on the like on the Google like, oh, I'm so sorry, we gave you a call or something like that or no?
I do. I mean, there have been like one or two that I just could not get in touch with them. Like I wrote, but like they didn't return. So in those cases, I have. I mean, I don't take it as personal anymore as I used to because I understand that it's not always me because I know we're doing what we can do. I have no control over their insurance and I have no control of their employer. And it's like I'm the middleman that they're just angry at when they should be angry at the insurance. Not
Hmm.
me, right? So I've gotten much more, I guess. I'm like, listen, I'm going to try. If I could get it off, great. If not, it is what it is.
Yeah. Great advice. Wonderful. So before we wrap up, what's one question you would like to ask for the next guest to answer?
I guess it just Depends what type of practice they want to build and what they're doing to, I guess, get their vision happen.
Gotcha. So the question would be, what's their vision
Like,
or?
what is your, I guess, vision and end goal for your office? What are you doing today to make that happen sooner than later?
Gotcha, gotcha. Awesome, Fatina. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure. But before we say goodbye, can you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, we are on 15th and 3rd, Gramercy Kids Smiles. We have a fun social media and TikTok as well. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, they could always reach out as well. I'd be happy. I was there too. I could say now a lot of things, but I know when you're going through it, it's just dentistry, it's hard. You got to wear a lot of hats. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel, I will say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Fatina, so much for everything you've given to us. And we appreciate you, and we'll hear you soon.
Thank you so much.